Yes, everybody. Russell and the West Ham Network. I don't know why I sound like I was singing an NWO song. Anyway, hope you're all well. I hope you're not shitting yourself too much as West Ham travel to AZ Alkmaar for the semi-final second leg of the Europa Conference League. Exciting times indeed. We did the press conference, Moyes' press conference. We'll talk about that in a bit. But as always, the night, a couple of hours before, we give you our starting 11s. Now, also last night, if you don't want to think about the conference tonight, don't think about the game. If you've got an hour spare, Mark Robbo was on the channel yesterday giving a Miami's 11. Great fun, really good stories, really good chat about everything about West Ham in terms of the youth team as well. Obviously, currently under 23 league coach. We talk about that, talk about the pathway, talk about some of the players coming through, talk about, how hard it is for players to develop into, consistent Premier League first team players as well. Really good chat. And obviously we spoke about particularly the 92-93 season, the promotion season, his main season there, 44 out of 48 or 46 league games he played. We spoke about, winning promotion at Upton Park against Cambridge United, that sort of last game of the season, all that type of stuff. Really good chat. Put a hell of 11 together as well. So check that out. Really good show. But it's all about the Europa League now, Conference League. Well, hopefully Europa League as well, because obviously we get through. Andy from the Supporters Club has sent me a great little video. Let's show it. Let's show the video. Look, we were. Actually, you take that one out. That was fuckle. You won't see it yet. You won't see it yet. And this is where we're going to be playing in a few hours' time. Hold your horses. Here we go. There it is. The AFAS Stadio. It looks like to me the front bit's been built out of Lego a little bit. But we'll be playing there. 20,000 people there at AFS Stadio. There's more. It seems a lot more than a few hundred people for West Ham out in Amsterdam at the moment, but we'll be there in a few hours' time. Weather looks good there. Weather looks very good there. So as I said, it is the starting 11 show. The goalkeeper anyway, he's going to be starting 11 show. I think it's going to be quite an easy 11. Maybe one possible one which I might get wrong. I'll be honest. Moyes' press conference. It was last night, late yesterday afternoon. Himself and Thomas Souček were in there, both bigging up the game, obviously bigging up what the opportunity is. Thomas Souček was talking about obviously the final being Prague in Czechia, so obviously it's not called Czech Republic now, it's called Czechia now. So talking about how much he would love that, and obviously Moyes talks about his Czech counterpart Vladimir Soufal, who's travelled out there. He's been training. He looks good. Mickey looks good. Everyone else is okay. So sounds like we've got a fully fit squad, bar Skamaka, who was training at Rush Green yesterday. He has been training. I don't think he's travelled, but he has been training back at East London, away from his escapades watching Roma in the semi-final first leg, which is what he was doing. Anyway, in goal, it's Areola. I think it's Areola, and then I wouldn't be surprised if it goes to penalties. Hopefully, he won't do. Little swap of Fabianski. Ariel wasn't very good. I'm talking about that Blackburn game. 11 penalties he didn't save. He doesn't save penalties very well, but Fabianski does save a good penalty. So maybe there could be a tactical switch at the end. But other teams have done it, and I think that could happen. I think he obviously sticks with his 4-2-3-1. Right back, I think Vlad's back in. I think Vladimir is back in. And the reason why I think he's back in, I thought Tilo played very well against Man United. Didn't play so well against AZ Alkmaar. And obviously didn't play against Brentford. But for me, AZ Alkmaar's, the whole of their left-hand side is going to be completely different than the left-hand side that played on last Thursday. In all probability, the left back, Kirkes, yep, he is returning back from suspension. He was suspended for the first game, and Jesper Karlsson, who is their sort of talisman. He is affectionately called the Swedish Neymar. He will be playing as well. He was injured for the first game. They brought him on for 45 minutes on Sunday when they won. No, Saturday night. Went on 5-1 against MCMN. But what could you do when you're only playing against a rapper? It's hardly surprising. I've said that joke too many times. I do apologise. And so he was given 45 minutes. So I'd imagine if he is close to 70% fit, they'll play him because he is their main dude. So I think he'll, and obviously Soufal's more of a, he rarely gets done for pace. He rarely gets rinsed by a winger. So I think him coming in is more solid, and also I think he helps the right wing as well. He'll be Jarrod Bowen, but not surprising. No spoiler alert. So I think they work well as the two of them, and I think that's part of the reason why we had this sort of slight upturn in form was the improvement of Vladimir, because he hasn't been playing well for most of the season. Maybe since sort of February time, he's January, he's got better. He's got, he was injured and lost a little bit of form, but he's definitely found his form again. So I think he'll play in that position. Right, centre backs. First one, Zuma. You play him if he's fit. Simple, and he's fit by all accounts. Says Moisey. Says everyone else is okay, apart from obviously he name checked Antonio and Soufal, but in terms of Zuma, he's fit, he plays, or even if he's 80% fit, he plays. I think Sunday's going to be an interesting game. We'll talk about Sunday, obviously. Friday. We'll talk. Yeah, Friday. We'll talk about Sunday and obviously do the starting 11 for that game. So I think it's going to be very different as well. And I think there'll be a few knocks from tomorrow, from tonight rather, later on tonight. So yeah, it's going to be. It's for now. It's all about tonight. It's all about tonight, isn't it? We've had so many career-defining, season-defining matches. This is the one, isn't it? This is the one. If we lose tonight, in terms of not getting through, next two games going to just be no one's going to give a shit about. Are they really? I don't think they are. So, from a fan's perspective, because the season's over, we sort of will play out those last couple of games with nothing to play for. Really, we're sort of safe-ish on goal difference. We're safe. Well, we're not quite goal difference. We're not safe, but you know what I mean. We're not mathematically safe, but we sort of are. As long as we don't lose against Leeds, we're mathematically safe. So alongside him, Naif. I think every dodgy game Naif has had. I know I've listened to quite a lot of people criticising him. I think he's a good player. And I think the crap games are when he's playing on the right side. And I think people underestimate that. I think for me, he's on that left side. He has got great vision. He really knows how to sort of cut out a lot of balls, so to speak. It's not surgery. I think he knows in terms of through balls. He protects particularly the left back as well, and also Zuma as well. There's not a huge amount of pace in that defense, particularly with Tilo Kehrer out. So Naif does a lot. I think he does a lot, and I think he has a lot resting on his shoulders. And I think when he has a shit game, it's usually when he's got to play with Ogbonna, and Ogbonna plays on the left, and again plays on the right. And again, I think he does a lot of clearing up for Ogbonna as well. But it's all perception, isn't it? In terms of people have different views of different players. Right back, left back rather. I think Cresswell comes back in, and just has to watch himself for semi. He's not very good at semi-finals, is he? Is he? Hopefully. I think this referee is more of a lenient referee by all accounts. But I think the conspirator in me thinks we might see a few strange decisions, I think, because I don't think anyone wants West Ham to have 15,000, 20,000 West Ham fans in Prague, by all accounts. And they'd rather have a smaller amount of people from ALKMAAR, particularly if we play Fiorentina. So, yeah. That's just a conspiracy. That's like me and my top 6 biasness on VAR. I think it's the same thing. So, right. So I think you want someone who's you want a lot of calm heads. You know, that game against ALKMAAR at the London Stadium, it was very sort of European professional game by ALKMAAR, slowing the ball down, going down, taking their time. I mean, Matthew Ryan almost like slow motion to take a goal kick and things like that, and then they just pass it across and they pass it back to him, and they can't afford to do too much of that for this game because they need to win. They need to score a fucking goal. So the way I see it is, what have we been playing? What's our game plan? Our game plan is usually to soak up pressure and hit on the counter attack. That's perfect for this game. As long as we don't let them in, as long as they let him go through. But as long as we keep that defense strong, and maybe we've got the opportunity to break, and it's when we break, we have to break meaningfully and get it in the old onion bag, and then I think we'll be all right. So on that basis, Tommy Souček goes in for me. I think he just sits there and just does his defense. He does a lot of dog work, a lot of donkey work or dog work, could both be the same. And he isn't the most exciting player. But I think I think for me, it's like, I think he sits there and he just blocks very, he has the physical attributes for a game like this to nick a goal, from a corner set play. He's 6'4", 5". I think he's the same. I think he's the tallest player. Him and Areola. I think he's the same height as Areola. So 6'5". It's useful to have a. I thought ALKMAAR, they had a couple of strong defenders, but not too much height, particularly sort of up front. So I think he's useful just to have. And I know, people have varying opinions about Souček, but I think he starts tomorrow. I don't think Flynn comes in. I don't think Pablo comes in. I think it's Souček. I think it's very settled this side. I think Rice comes alongside him, of course. And then in terms of the sort of the trio, then it's Paqueta in a slightly more advanced role. Souček talks about that trio and how it's taken a while for them to find their roles. He said for a long time it was him and Deck as a two, and it was. And he goes, and then Paqueta came along, and it's taken a while for us to get into a groove in terms of knowing our positions and knowing who does what and who's good at doing what and how it complements one another. And I think we sort of are getting into that spot now. We have done for the last sort of half dozen games, I'd say, on average. Yeah, there's a few duffer games, but we seem to be getting this sort of balance a lot better now. Midfield looks a lot more balanced than it did before, where it was woeful, really. And then obviously Paqueta's still finding his feet in the Premier League, and now he sort of understands it a lot more. But we're understanding how to play with him as well. I think it's utilising him in the right way, and it's taken a long time for us to realise how to best to play him. I still don't think we have the best out of him. I think give him a full pre-season, and then please let's keep Skelmacking, because I think him and Paqueta as a two will be fucking awesome. And it really would be. And so it would mean slightly different way of playing football, changing football as well, because Skelmacker's not a target. Oh, he's 6'5". He's not a target. Anyway, don't worry about that, man. Let's get this game out of the way first. On the right-hand side, rather, Jared Bowen, job done. Him and Soufal, great as a partnership. And that's what I like to say. I like partnerships, and that has a partnership. I think the centre-back partnerships are very good. I think that trio in the middle is getting more used to one another. I think that right-hand side as well, and I know it's stupid saying getting used to each other with 3 games left, hopefully 4 games left of the season, but it is at the right time, in my opinion. And I think that right-hand side, they've played together for many, 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 many games. And it just works, and they know when to overlap. Means Bowen can also cut in a bit more because he knows that Soufal's available in the overlap, knows the runs he's going to make. It just works well. Right, left-hand side, I think Benny stays. Benny's got his position. He's in Moyes' ear at the moment. He seems to be not undroppable, but it's kind of undroppable at the moment. They'll throw him off after 60 if he's not doing what he wants him to do. But I think the Man United game was probably his best game for us for a long time. I thought it was really good. I thought it was quite good against ALKMAAR, particularly second half. And that's the first half. I think Souček says it in his pre-match, saying that we want to be playing like we played in the second half against AZ, and we do. That first half was shocking, and I think we gave him too much respect. I think again nerves seem to be there. We seemed very nervous, very cagey, and that second half a lot more assured of ourselves. I mean, to be honest, if you look for the whole game, bar that freak shot at the beginning and maybe one or two shots, they probably had about 2 or 3 shots, decent shots all game, and one of them went in, and so that's what it takes. But it wasn't like they were peppering our goal really. But I think it's a slightly different beast at home than they are away. So we go back to the AZ ALKMAAR quarterfinals. They were 2-0 down at Anderlecht and then brought it back to 2-2. Well, they won the second leg 2-2, 2-0 rather. Quite sharpish, banged a couple of goals, and I think before half time. And then Anderlecht kept them going all through the first of the second half and in extra time, and they went through 4-1 on penalties, I think it was. So they went sort of the hard way through, but they're more of a home side. They're usually not very good away. They're a lot better at home, and so I think you'll see a different beast. And up front, the man who's in probably the form of his career, I reckon. If you look at the stats, he probably well is Michail Antonio. And as me and Anton have said many a time, if Antonio plays well, the team play well. If Antonio's got the bit between his teeth, the team will play well because he's the focal point. And the whole ethos of Moyes ball hangs on having a Michail Antonio type role up front, or a Marko Arnautovic, and there's a reason they work rather than Danny Ings, because he's not that type of player. We know he's not that type of player. Moyes knows he's not that type of player, but we've got him. I think this season's his best goal return. He's still got 4 games left, 14 goals this season. I think his previous best was last year. We had 13, then a couple of seasons of 10. So, he's still back. He could easily finish his season, hopefully, with score 2 goals tonight. Score 2 goals at 2 goals. And a goal in the final. Could finish the season 21 goals. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? Do a Man City and win 4-0, and Antonio scores 4. But he really is the focal point. And I think then, the only thing that sort of slightly worries me is the second string. Obviously we've had the Brentford game. Second string didn't play very well, and again, there's reasons why that, lack of motivation, lack of match fitness, that type of thing. But a lot the likes of Lanzini, I think he made his 20 odd appearances this season, and Fornals and stuff like that. Obviously, Fornals' energy will come on if need be. You've got the likes of obviously Downs coming on for maybe a Souček. Or maybe if we're winning the game, Down's coming on for a Paqueta to tie it up. You've got Emerson giving you a different dynamic for the left back. You've got Tilo Kira's pace if need be. I don't mind seeing Tilo Kira coming on for like Souček, like central midfield. I thought they'd be quite good at that. Cornet, Ings, Mbama maybe. I think he was probably one of the only ones who came out of the Brentford game with any prestige, is that the right word? But any glory, so to speak. So there's options there, but it's pretty much if Moyes will keep that squad as much long as possible, that 11. And I think he openly admitted it. He said at post match after Brentford game that he's got 12, 13, 14 players that he's happy with sort of rotating. So you imagine that's Danny Ings, it's probably Cornet, and it's probably Fornals and Downs maybe. That's probably it. Maybe Tilo, so maybe 15, 16. And extra time, penalties. It's been a long season. The fact is, out of this side, Nayev played. Who else played? Souček. Did Souček play? can't remember. In terms of Brentford, but we rested a fair few players, so these guys should be pretty fresh. Obviously, the fitness and Soufal first game back could be a risk, but then we've obviously Kira on the bench as well. Yeah, I mean I think that is basically pretty much the only change could be Soufal out for Tilo Kira, but that's it. I think that's pretty much it. If you agree, let us know in the comments. Let me know your score predictions as well. I think we're going to get a draw tonight, and I think that takes us through, obviously. But I think it's going to be a tight draw. Obviously, all draws are tight because you've both got the same amount of goals. But you know what I mean. I think it's going to be a tight game. We know it's going to be a tight game, but I think we'll qualify and get into the bloody semi-finals. That'd be amazing. Let me just move myself here. As I said, if you're new around here, give it a like, give it a comment, give it a share, give it a subscribe, all that good stuff. I'll be here around for the watch along. Anton's going around his old man's around Big Jim. Maybe we'll get Big Jim on at halftime, maybe to have a little, analysis. Very much our own Mika Richards, Thierry Henry, and Jamie Carragher, Anton and Jim Baker. Maybe Freddie as well. 3 generations of Bakers. And as I said, if you're getting a bit nervous and you want something to take your mind off, myself and Mark Robbo, we did a fantastic interview last night. About an hour long, really good, chatted about all the old days, talked about the 92-93 season. We talked about him going to West Ham when he was 7 years old. His old man used to take him. Great story about him signing for the club and the reasons why he thinks he signed for the club. Beautiful story about he lived in Beckton when he was playing for Tottenham, and he would drive his now wife, who was his childhood sweetheart. They started going out when I was 12, very sweet, and would drive her to Upton Park station from Beckton, and every day he would stop at the traffic down the Green Street was always shit with it, but he'd always have a look at Upton Park and have a look, and every day he told his now wife that he was going to go and play at West Ham, and eventually he did in a very interesting season. And he also he had European football under West Ham as well in the Anglo-Italian Cup. First round, away to Southend. Was it home to Southend? I can't remember. But there we go. Anyway, let me know what you think. As I said, if you're new and give it a like, give it a comment, give it a share, give it a subscribe. Become a channel member. We're very, very close. We're getting very, very close to 16,000 subscribers. If we're not there yet, well, yeah, so pretty much there. We are there. But anyway, so great, fantastic. They only need 70. I just want more. That's what Anton says. But anyway, I'll speak to you guys later on. Looking forward to taking you through. Hopefully, victory to the finals of the Conference League. Anyway, take care. Bye bye. Have a good rest of the day, and hope finishing work early. If you're already in Amsterdam, be very good. Don't eat any of the cakes or mushroom soup or tea that anyone offers you. And enjoy Anne Frank's house. Enjoy a bit of culture. The Van Gogh Museum as well in the museum district. Enjoy that as well. I'm sure you will. I'm sure you won't go anywhere with any red light bulbs or anything like that. Take care. Much love. Bye-bye.